Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Durlabho Manusho Deho Dehinam Shanabhangurai Tatrapi Durlabham Manye Vaikuntha Priya Darshinaha Akama Sarva Kamo Va Moksha Kama Udadadi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajate Purusham Param Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna, dear worshipable devotees, thank you so much for joining. We are reading Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 9, chapter number 5, entitled Durvâsâ Muni's Life Spared. So just to give a brief context of this chapter, the Sudarshan Chakra is after Durvâsâ Muni. He came back all the way to Ambarish Mahārāj because that was told by Lord Vishnu that only if you take shelter of Ambarish Mahārāj, the great devotee, because I am sold to my devotee, I am subordinate to my devotee. So if the devotee forgives you, then there is some hope. So then Durvâsâ Muni comes here, and Ambarish Mahārāj is offering wonderful prayers. So from text number 3 onwards, Ambarish Mahārāj is offering a lot of prayers. So we will continue the prayers to Sudarshan Chakra in the following verses as well. Text number 8. Yada Vishratastvam Anang Janeneva Vai Balam Pravishto Jita Daitya Danavam Bahudaro Vangri Shirodharani Vrichashna Ajashram Pradhane Virajase. Translation: By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O indefatigable one, when you are sent by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to enter among the soldiers of the Daityas and the Danavas, you stay on the battlefield and unendingly separate their arms, bellies, thighs, legs, and heads. Hare Krishna. So here, Sudarshan Chakra's strength is mentioned, that how Sudarshan Chakra, when there is a battle of demigods, the Daityas and Asuras, then Sudarshan Chakra is sent to sever the heads, thighs, legs, etc. of the demons. So very, very powerful. So one Sudarshan Chakra can basically is the cause of everything. We discussed that, and can practically destroy everything. So quite straightforward here. Let's see the next verse, text number 9. Yes, Vipul Prabhu, you want to read?
Prabhuji. Arjuna devotees, Dandava Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Text 9. Shatam Jagatrano Khalo Prahanoye Niruprita Sarvo Saha Gada Vritta Viprasayo Chasmat Kuladaivo Hetave Videhi Bhadram Tat Onugraho Hi Na. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O protector of the universe, you are engaged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead as His all-powerful weapon in killing the envious enemies. For the benefit of our entire dynasty, kindly favor this poor Brahmana. This will certainly be a favor for all of us. So, the Sudarshan Chakra Prabhuji, can I say that it is none other than Krishna himself? Because it is energy. So, um, Maharaj, Ambarish Maharaj is praying to the Sudarshan Chakra, and he is the power and energy of the Lord for the creation and destruction both. And definitely, Lord will listen to the devotee's prayer, and that way the devotion Muni life will be saved. Back to Guruji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. We see this in theme across all the interaction of the Lord and his devotee, or the Lord's Tadiya. So Sudarshan is basically not different from the Lord, the cause of creation, the cause of destruction, and the personal energy of the Lord. So first, Ambarish Mahārāj, glorified Sudarshan Chakra. He had to ask something, a favor. But that was not the first thing he did. So whenever we meet Lord, his great devotees, or anything that they should not, even if we have to ask something, he wanted to ask a favor, not for his own self, even for someone else. But the first thing is we should render sincere prayers, glorify the Lord, Uttama Shloka. So he is offering wonderful prayers from text number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then he like 5 wonderful verses about the glories of Sudarshan, his qualities, energies, and what can he do, etc. It's a person. It's not just a inanimate disc, right? In spiritual world, even a sand is a chintamani, right? What to speak of the personal weapon of the Supreme Lord, Sudarshana Chakra. And we also discussed that how that weapon destroys the demons and protects the devotees, the same weapon, because it reciprocates differently with different people. Why? Because as you approach, I reciprocate accordingly. Yathamam prapadyanti tam satyam bhajamiham. So a devotee, and also we learn he's very, very selfless. He's not saying, oh, tit for tat. He tried to kill me, Sudarshan, now you try to kill him, right? In the material world, pretty much everyone wants to do tit for tat. But Ambarish Mahārāj did not do tit for tat. Rather, he is asking to kindly favor the poor Brahmana. He is suffering. He has ran a lot, right? And so he tolerated. Ambarish Mahārāj tolerated. Not tit for tat, but tolerate that. His Grace Radhesham Prabhu has a wonderful lecture about this. So tit for tat is often not the solution. Tolerate that is often the solution in any dealings in life, in most dealings in life. So selflessly, he's asking to help Durvâsâ Muni. So let's see whether it happened or not. Text 10. Yes, Umesh Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Hare Krishna Dandavat devotees. Text number 10. Yadasti tat amishtam va swadharmo va sanoshtritaha lomno vipradaiva cheta vijo bhavatu vichvara. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If our family has given a charity to the proper person, if we have performed ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices, if we have properly carried out our occupational duties, and if we have been guided by learned Brahmanas, I wish in exchange that this Brahmana be freed from the burning caused by the Sudarshana Chakra. So this is a very wonderful way, the reflection you can see here. The great devotee is giving all his phala shruti, means if he has done a good for everything, his occupational duty, whatever good he has done, in the exchange of that, just free from this Brahmana, Durvâsâ Muni, from the burning cause of Sudarshan Chakra, I think, Prabhuji, this is the highest anyone can do in the devotion. And this has to be a great devotee, as you say, that not tit for tat, but forget about the tit for tat. He is even ready to give his own falashruti, whatever he has done good. In the exchange, he is asking the Lord. So this is very wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, that's really extraordinary standard of selflessness. Whatever good I have done, I do not want the fruits of that for myself, my family, my children, my wives, my parents, my, me, but for someone who was trying to kill me. That's extraordinary. He was trying to, he was not just trying to, he made a fiery demon to burn Ambarish, Durvâsâ Muni. But he's asking, Ambarish Mahārāj is asking to do good for someone who is trying to kill. This is actually real test. To love those who love us is very easy. If someone speaks kind words to me, oh Prabhuji, you are nice, you do this, and I speak kind words to him or her, then what's the big deal? There's no big deal in that, right? I think it's in the Bible, right? To love those who love you is not a big deal. But to be kind and gentle to those who speak harsh to us, who are not so kind to us, then that's the test. They're actually our true well-wishers because they are helping us to understand what is in our heart. Whether tit for tat comes out or we tolerate that. So we should always not focus on tit for tat. Maybe at this level is very, very exemplary and we cannot artificially imitate it, but at least we can try to tolerate and pray for everyone's good, whether they are good to us, whether they speak kind to us or not. So he's praying basically to help, to not cause any difficulty to Durvâsâ and willing to do anything for that. Let's see the next verse, text 11.
So Prabhuji, I have one question here. So Ambarish Mahārāj, who is the embodiment of 9 devotional service, so he also telling that if you have performed ritualistic ceremonies, that means we should not leave ritual ceremonies. That should be done, but with devotional attitude, with Krishna's purpose. Am I right?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Like the samskaras we do, we have to do it in a Vaishnava way, right? The like Shraddha ceremony, Jatakarma sanskar, Vivaha sanskar. It's not that devotees ignore those things, but they have to do it in a Vaishnava way, right? And sacrifices, what's the biggest sacrifice? So we don't know about this yoga in particular, but the biggest sacrifice is Yajnanam Japa Yajna Asmi. So we have to do that. Yes, absolutely. In a Kṛṣṇa conscious way, centered around pleasing Guru, Sadhu, pleasing Brahmanas, pleasing Supreme Lord. So yes, no one is stopping us from doing so. Even in the deity worship, there are some rituals, right? We have to follow Nityam and Niyam. Vidhi, Nishad. Vidhis are the do's and the Nishad are the don'ts. So we have to follow certain do's and don'ts, which are like ritualistic, but ritualistic enveloped with spiritual life, because ritual added with the spirit of devotion will make it spiritual. The S of spiritual will make the ritual spiritual. So one devotee gave an example. Ritual is like the envelope, right? And the spirit of devotion is like the letter inside. Now, one may ask, what is more important? Is the letter more important or the envelope more important? So, on a relative term, the letter is more important, but letter will not go to the destination without the envelope. So, both are important in short. So, we don't have to artificially say, well, ignore the letter. The letter is, the envelope. So, the envelope is important, but if the envelope does not have any devotion, what is the use of the envelope? It's empty. It's dry husk without the rice inside. So we have to nicely combine. Same with like doing arti. It's we move the hands in a ritualistic way, but when we do it with a spirit of devotion, that ritual becomes spiritual. So both are very, very important.
Thank you, Guruji.
Okay, text 11. Anyone wants to read?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, please.
Text number 11. Hare Krishna, devotees, and Pranam, all goes to Shri. Yadi no Bhagavan Prita Eka Sarva Gunashraya Sarva Bhutatma Bhavena Dvijo Bhavatu Vishvara. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. If the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second, who is the reservoir of all transcendental qualities, and who is the life and soul of all living entities, is pleased with us, we wish that this Brahmana, Durvâsâ Muni, be freed from the pain of being burned. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So it's a wonderful verse again. So in continuation, what you rightly explained. So Ambarish Mahārāj is very humble, and he is telling that the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and he's the reservoir of all the transcendental qualities. So and he's pleased with us. If he's pleased with us, then he's requesting Durvâsâ Muni to be forgiven from this pain of being one. Prabhuji. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So quite similar to the previous verse, he is basically begging to Sudarshana that whatever good me or my family has done ever, anything good, if the Lord is pleased, well, Lord is certainly pleased. We discussed in the previous chapter that how the Lord cannot tolerate any harm to his devotee. That's why he sent the Sudarshan Chakra without even asking. So why? Because Ambarish Mahārāj was the epitome of devotion. So how can Lord not be pleased? The Lord is certainly pleased. And we were reading chapter 12 recently. Yo me bhakta cha me priya. In multiple verses in chapter 12 towards the end, 13, 14, 15, 16, all the verses tell that, oh, yo me bhakta cha me priya. My devotee is very dear to me. My devotee, Kṛṣṇa is bhakta vatsala. Kṛṣṇa is bhakta adhina. Kṛṣṇa is very, very possessive towards his devotees. So he's very, very, very pleased. So Ambarish Mahārāj is willing to exchange that for protection of Durvâsâ. Right? Basically, this is the real wealth. This is the real thing. He's willing to exchange whatever good he did in the past, whatever bhakti, whatever yajna, dana, tapa he did to protect Durvâsâ, who was trying to kill him. Let's see the next verse. Yes, any Matajis want to read? Kirti Mataji, want to read? Sampada Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Shri Sukha Uvacha iti samstuvato rajnyo Vishnu Chakram Sudarshanam asamyat sarvato vipram pradaha raja yachnaya. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sukadev Goswami continued, when the king offered prayers to the Sudarshana Chakra and Lord Vishnu, because of his prayers, the Sudarshana Chakra became peaceful and stopped burning the Brahmana known as Durvâsâ Muni. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. So quite straightforward here. When the king offered prayers, the Sudarshana pacified. Why? That's what Lord Vishnu told. If Ambarish Mahārāj forgives you, and then only there is hope. So Ambarish Mahārāj is, what to speak of forgiving? He's willing to give everything in exchange to just protect. And we know that Durvâsâ Muni was trying to glorify Ambarîsha, and Ambarish didn't even hear or didn't even allow him to speak. Because a great soul like Ambarish Mahārāj never feels that someone has insulted him or her. A great soul, Ambarish Mahārāj was not casually having his prasadam after Durvâsâ. He was in his heart feeling, because of me, Durvâsâ Muni has to go through this difficulty. He was waiting. And we will study, I think, later. 1 year had passed when Durvâsâ Muni first met, when he got angry because of Ambarish Mahārāj drank water. 1 year had passed. Why? Because he had to go to Kailash, he had to go to Brahmaloka, he got to Vaikuntha. So 1 year had passed. And guess what? Ambarish Mahārāj had not eaten. Why? Because in his heart he was feeling that because of me, Durvâsâ Muni has to go through so much of this difficulty. So he was feeling very, very repentant. He was feeling very, very morose that how my guest is suffering because of me. So there was not even question of Durvâsâ Muni begging for forgiveness. Rather, he was feeling that, oh Sudarshana, please calm down. I don't want my guest to be in any difficulty. And the Lord is Bhakta Adhina. Mad Bhakta Pujatika. If the devotee says so, the Lord is henpecked. Therefore, that's our hope. We don't have any hope but go back home, back to Godhead. But if we sincerely serve Prabhupada and his bona fide devotees, and if they make a request, Lord, please take him or her. He sincerely tried to chant holy name, although doing a lot of things. But the Lord listens to the devotees. So pure devotees like Ambarish Mahārāj especially. So Sudarshan Chakra pacified. And let's see what happens further. Anyone else who has not yet read wants to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I can read.
Smita, please.
Text 13. Samuktro saknitapena durvasa swasti mastatah prasharsham tamu vishram yunjanam param ashishah. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Durvâsâ Muni, the greatly powerful mystic, was indeed satisfied when freed from the fire of Sudarshana Chakra. Then he praised the qualities of Ambarish Mahārāja and offered him the highest benediction. Back to you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mata. So we were talking about mystic, right? And mystic, he was a very, very powerful mystic yogi. That's used for him. But Prabhupada mentions the power of bhakti yoga is infinite in front of power of mystic yoga. Right? The mystic yogi was trying to run in different directions. All his siddhis, anima, lagima, prapti, etc. could not help him. Whereas the bhakti yogi, the great embodiment of pure devotion, Ambarish Mahārāj, he did not have to run anywhere. He didn't move in a single inch. So we did all these contrasting characters, the qualities, how they were, Ambarish Mahārāj was equipoised, how he's so forgiving, forgetful about any offenses done to him. Durvâsâ Muni took very personally, hey, how dare you insult me by not eating before me? That's a great insult. Fiery, angry, red hot, created a demon. So we see that the mystic yoga, the best of the mystic yogi, is a great lesson here. Is practically insignificant in front of Bhakti Yogi, right? Therefore, we should not aspire for some mystic siddhis, anima, lagima. Ambarish Mahārāj already had those, but they don't show, because the real thing is devotion to God, devotion to the Supreme Lord. That's the real thing, real wealth. Not any walking on water, walking in the air. This is not the real goal of life. You can take a flight and walk in the air. You can take a boat and walk on the water. Why should we waste our precious life to decades and decades to walk on the water? So the point is the power of Bhakti Yoga or Bhakti Yogi over mystic yoga. And then Sudarshana was gone, and Ambarish Mahārāj was praised by Durvâsâ Muni, and Durvâsâ Muni offered him benedictions also. And we discussed that Ashish, Ashirvad, coming from this word. So he offered him Ashirvad. And blessings naturally outpour. We discussed yesterday, when a person sincerely serves or pleases the Guru or anyone, the Brahmanas, etc. So let's see what he spoke. What glorification Durvâsâ spoke. Anyone would like to read text number 14?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Durvâsâ uvacha aho ananta dashanam mahatvam drishtam adyame kritagashopi yadrajan mangalani samhihase. Translation. Prabhuji, can you scroll up? Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Durvâsâ Muni said, "My dear king, today I have experienced the greatness of devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For although I have committed an offense, you have prayed for my good fortune." So here Durvâsâ Muni is telling Ambarish Mahārāj how great the devotee is of Supreme Personality of Godhead. So whatever, again, Yogi, like Durvâsâ Muni did with Ambarish Mahārāj, the offense, but still the devotee is so kind, he always forgive. So that's what Durvâsâ Muni is telling to Ambarish Mahārāj. Back to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. So, very nice verse again. He's like so amazed to see the glories of devotion. And now he is also realizing that I tried to kill him, but he prayed for my good fortune. No tit for tat. And he realized, although I have committed an offense, but he didn't try to, he could have done it, right? There was no hope for Durvâsâ Muni if Ambarish Mahārāj would have said, no, he has hurt me, destroy him, right? Or if we would have not prayed to Sudarshan Chakra to pacify, there was no hope. He had gone to all Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But it was only by the prayers of Ambarish Mahārāj, Sudarshan Chakra pacified. Because if my devotee is telling something, I'm bound to. So the greatness of devotion, again and again, this point is coming. Greatness of Bhakti Yoga, greatness of loving service to the Lord. Durvâsâ Muni himself realized it and is expressing the glories. So there are a few more verses talking about that. Let's read those. Anyone who has not yet read, text 15. Okay, Okay, we'll take the seconds.
Yes, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Text 15. Duskaraha konu sadhunam drishyate jova mahatmanam yehe sangruhito bhagwan satvatam vrishabho harihi. Translation. For those who have achieved the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of the pure devotees, what is impossible to do and what is impossible to give up. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Very, very nice verse again. Thank you, Mataji, for reading this nice verse. Dushkaraho ko na sadhu nam. What is impossible for the devotees to do? Let's meditate upon that. Prabhupada also said that impossible is a word in Fool's Dictionary. There's nothing impossible, right? So another meaning is what mercy is impossible for them to give. That means they are so merciful, they can give the topmost, they're most merciful. Parama Karuna. They are the ocean of mercy. Dayara Sagara. Right? And we see so many, if we look back, Prabhupada's life, building an international society for Krishna consciousness with 40 rupees at the age of 70, doesn't it seem impossible? It absolutely seems to the mundane person, or to anyone actually, except for pure devotee, it is an impossible task, right? But Prabhupada did it because there is nothing impossible for a devotee. Same, Prabhupada encouraged, inspired his disciples to also do things which were practically impossible. Just think about, with no resources, no money, the Western people, one time like going in a train, and someone said that there should be a temple. There's no temple. Prabhupada said, okay, get down, open up a temple. There was no person in that city, no devotees, no prasada, no arrangement. And he literally got down and started a temple there from scratch. The fruit which we are reaping now, there is temple in every city. There are thousands and hundreds of devotees in practically all cities. And all these devotees, Prabhupada disciples, did Herculean, impossible tasks. And Prabhupada said impossible is a word in Fool's Dictionary. And here Durvâsâ Muni is saying, Dushkaro ko no sadhu nam. There is nothing dushkara, everything is sukara. Why? Katanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhavet vismrite vispritam syat Sri Chaitanya namamitam. Whenever we are feeling this task is very difficult or impossible, we should remember this verse. We should remember Prabhupada. We should remember his disciples. We should remember Lord Chaitanya. Because when we remember Lord Chaitanya, when we remember his mercy, dushkaram sukaram bhavet. Dushkar becomes sukaram. That means a difficult task becomes very easy. And vismritam. That means when we opposite of smaran, when we forget Krishna, when we forget Lord Chaitanya, when we forget Guru and Krishna, then vipritam syat. Viprit means sukaram becomes dushkaram. An easy task will also become impossible when we don't have the mercy of Guru and Krishna. So, dusht tyajo va mahatmanam. What is impossible to give up for devotees. You can meditate upon this also. The government was spending lakhs, millions of dollars for these hippies to give up drugs, meat eating, alcohol, etc. But when Prabhupada came, it was so easy. In just a matter of some little time, they all gave up the wrong habits. So nothing is impossible. So one should not feel, oh, I have this habit from last 20 years. Oh, my grandmother used to do this, so I must do this. Even if it is not the right thing to do, even if it is contradictory to bhakti, I will do it because my grandmother. No. We have to see what we have to accept and what we have to give up. There's nothing impossible to give up also. And there's nothing impossible to do also. So the inner meaning is, what offense is impossible for them to overlook? That means there is nothing big of an offense they cannot overlook. Could anything be a bigger offense than killing one's life or killing someone? Like Durvâsâ was trying to kill Ambarish. What could be a bigger offense? He didn't even speak just harsh words, which he already had spoken. He didn't, he basically tried to kill him. That's the biggest of the offense. And here Durvâsâ Muni is glorifying what is impossible for them to do. What offense is so big for them to overlook? That means there is nothing big. They never feel that this is a big of an offense I cannot forgive. So, Yatihi Sangrito Bhagavan Sattvatam Shubho Hari. What they have attained? They have attained the mercy of the Lord. They have achieved Sattvatam Shubho Hari. They have achieved, devotees have achieved the Supreme Lord. They have Kṛṣṇa in their heart. Sangrita Bhagavan. Yati Sangritaha Bhagavan. They have done Sangraha, or they have done attachment. They have obtained by devotional service. What they have obtained? They have obtained Kṛṣṇa, who is the master of all. Is the leader, Rishabh also. So we can meditate that when we have Kṛṣṇa in our heart, nothing is impossible. Prabhupada said multiple. And when we don't have Kṛṣṇa in our heart, tiny things will also appear to be impossible. Because lack of faith, lack of devotion, lack of sincerity. So we should always try to, and this is a good way to develop faith. For example, let's talk about Bhadra Purnima. Okay, Bhadra Purnima, His Grace Visheshika Prabhu is a pioneer. He encourages everyone to take some responsibility, take some ownership, and if someone thinks, okay, I'll distribute one Bhagavatam set or two Bhagavatam set. Okay, one I'll take myself, or one I'll give to my uncle, or one I'll give to my friend. That's it, done. So if it is too easy, that means we didn't get out of our comfort zone. I was just hearing the Sankirtan orientation seminar. He said that we should take some responsibility. So the night we are not able to sleep, and then we intensely pray to Kṛṣṇa, Kṛṣṇa, I can't do this. Only you can help me do this, because it's impossible for me. But if you have your involvement here, then nothing is impossible. So please help me out. Please, I want to please my spiritual master. I want to please Prabhupada by doing this seva. And book distribution is just one example. It could be anything, any program, any service, temple, whatever. There's nothing impossible. If we have faith in Kṛṣṇa, if we sincerely try our best, there's nothing impossible. Unimaginable doors will open. Unimaginable doors will open when we sincerely try. Even in the Bible it is said, if you have the faith of a mustard seed that the mountain will move, it will really move. It will really, really move if we have that faith. So it's very important to remember this verse, especially when we feel low, when we feel. And the other way also we can say, well, is it possible for me to go back home, back to Godhead? Nothing. No, it's not possible, because I have so many anarthas. But Kṛṣṇa and pure Vaishnavas, nothing is impossible for them. Let's take their sincere shelter. Because if they tell, Lord, kindly accept this insignificant fallen soul, then Lord will. Nothing is impossible for Prabhupada. But if we please him, if we sincerely try, nothing is impossible. So let's see the next verse. Yes, Renuka Mataji, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all Krishna Prabhupada. Text 16. Ennama shruti matrena puman bhavati nirmalaha tasya tirtha pada kimva dhasanam avishishyate. Translation by His Divine Guest Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What is impossible for the servants of the Lord? By the very hearing of His holy name, one is purified. Thank you, Prabhuji. Back to you.
You have any comments, Mataji?
So generally, like when we worship different demigods, I remember the Gajendra story when Gajendra don't even praying to Lord Vishnu, but he was telling all the prayers that he is a supreme personality of Godhead. He's the controller of everybody and all. So Lord Vishnu, he was coming very fast to save Gajendra. So Lord doesn't worry like he's calling my name or anything else. So Lord is so merciful. He's so Bhaktavatsala. Just you call, knowingly or unknowingly, he will come. We know Ajamila story. So Lord Narayana, he was mentioning to his son, not Lord Narayana. But Lord was sending his Vishnu Dutas just to protect Ajamila because he was calling his name. So that's very wonderful to call Lord's holy name and hear the Lord's name. So that's what I can share, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. You are exemplifying the Namacharya of Tampa. He was meditating on the holy names and chanting so sincerely. This is exemplary. So quite similar to the previous verse that nothing is impossible for devotees. Whenever we feel low, whenever we feel rejected, whenever we feel depressed, whenever we feel, oh, I can't do this, all we have to do is remember these words. All we have to do is remember Shri Guru and Gauranga and take more sincere shelter of the holy name, of the devotional service processes. Because how does it become possible? How does it, happen? But Prabhupada is mentioning Sangritaha, how they have done Sangraha. They have done Sangraha. Sangraha means to accumulate or achieve. A materialist is doing a lot of Sangraha of wealth, but devotee is more intelligent, million times more intelligent. He's doing Sangraha of devotional service. And in that, Bhagavan, right? If one does sincere devotional service, basically one is binding Kṛṣṇa in one's heart. And that's what Rath Yatra is. Today is Rath Yatra. To do Sangrah of the Lord in one's heart, to pull the Lord in one's heart by the medium of devotional service. And then nothing will be impossible, right? Evankim Prabhu just joined. We can see, how he does impossible things. Feeding hundreds of people, organizing Rath Yatras, extraordinary. Why? Because then Sangrah of the Lord Jagannath is so pleased, and then extraordinary things will manifest when we have that faith, when we have that strength, when we have that desire. Basically, if we have the sincere desire, then everything else will manifest. And as we mentioned, as we discussed, unimaginable doors will open. If we are doing these acts of devotion, या नाम श्रुति, भगवान का नाम सुनने से, श्रवण करने से, श्रुति मात्रेण पुमान भवति निर्मला, one becomes nirmal, one becomes free from dirt, and the Lord is always there in one's heart, and then nothing is impossible because Lord is present. So one's faith is not in one's own ability. One's faith is that Kṛṣṇa is with me. Kṛṣṇa will help me. It's not that I can handle this project. It's not that I can do this Rath Yatra. I am just an insignificant servant. Nachao se mate. When Prabhupada came to US, he was not like, oh, I will make the whole US a devotee. He said to Kṛṣṇa in Jaladuta, I don't have any devotion. I don't have any words to speak. But Kṛṣṇa, nothing is impossible for you. You make it possible. You make it possible, and let me be a puppet in your hands. Kashtera putali yatha. I am just like a doll, like a puppeteer helps, the doll pulls the left string and the right string and the hands move and the legs move. I'm just like a puppet. in your hands. Who's the real puppeteer, the master of all? You make me dance, and through your agent, unimaginable things will happen. And it did happen, right? Why? Because Prabhupada was carrying Krishna in heart. Firm faith, firm devotion, firm attachment to holy name. So, any other comments, any additions before we move on?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I mean, you did rightly say your sincerity, but there are two views here, basically. Is it possible to achieve the Lord? That's the question. And is it possible for me to give up certain things? So the answer lies in between them. Even if I think that, yes, is it possible? Because Shastra says, because this is what the proof is. But then again, it fell down somewhere when we come back in the material world and things that is not possible for me give up. Because there are two things here. Durvâsâ Muni is talking. Possible to achieve the Lord, and what is not possible for them to give up. So there are two things here. So you have to see. I mean, for me, it looks very difficult task. Even if I believe one, but then other is always, I will feel that I'm going to struggle at there because it's not for possible or easy for me to give up the part in the material world. So how do you did answer nicely, but that goes into the, like in the first category where whether you believe you can achieve the Supreme Personality of Godhead or not. But I'm always struggling at the second, what is not possible for me to give up, or very difficult for me to give up this. I hope you understand what I'm saying.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your genuine, honest question. The answer is yes and yes. Let's discuss it a little more. And His Grace Ananda Vrindavan Prabhu asked His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj question, similar question, that time is flying. We have been chanting this, that, but still I feel there are so many anarthas, so many. I just feel, will there be a day when I'll be able to completely absorb in Krishna's holy name, free from mala, nirmala, free from any kind of, duplicity, free from like pure holy name? I feel it's impossible. I feel, I have so many anarthas, so many. So that feeling is actually good, Maharaj said. That feeling is good. And that should help us to take more sincere shelter of the Supreme Lord. Lord, I cannot do on my own. You be on my side. You help me to overcome this. And that's why that should help us to cry for Krishna, to chant more sincerely, Krishna, this anartha I am having, this shortcoming I have, I can never give this up on my own. Right? So that should help us to increase our dependence on the Lord. Right? Then the Lord is on our side. Right? Famous verse in Bhagavad Gita, Devi Esha Gunamai Mam Maya Duratyaya Mam Evi Prapadyanti Maya Metam Tarantite. This Maya is very duratyaya, very, very difficult to overcome. But if someone takes shelter of me, then I come on his side, like a kabaddi match, like a tug of war, or kabaddi, either way. Like, there are two teams, tug of war, they're pulling the rope. You don't pull the Jagannath rope. It'll be nice to pull our Jagannath rather than doing tug of war. But anyways, they're pulling on one side, okay? So Jiva is on one side, and the other Maya is on one side. Now Jiva is fighting alone to pull Maya, to overcome Maya. Can the Jiva by itself overcome Maya? No. Duratyaya. Maya is Krishna's energy. We think we can overcome Maya? Impossible. Impossible. But when we request, Krishna, I cannot do it. You come on my side. You help me out. I take shelter of you. Then Krishna will come on our side. And then it will become Sukara. It will become Dushkara, will become Sukara. Did Arjuna kill all the heroes opposite side on the battlefield? No. It was Krishna who was doing it. Right? Arjuna was a via medium. Krishna was on Arjuna's side. That's why he was able to do, because Krishna was empowering him. When Krishna was gone, Arjuna was defeated by the tribals. Right? That's a famous story there. And then Arjuna, there's a famous verse which Gauragopal Prabhu, when he came to our college, he said that I forgot the verse in Sanskrit, but I remember the essence. The essence was Arjuna was contemplating, oh, I have the same Gandiva, I have the same arms, I am the same Arjuna, I have the same chariot, I have the same everything, same crown, same everything, but now I'm defeated by the simple tribals. One thing is missing, Krishna is missing. So, without Krishna, we are zero. With Krishna, we are hero. So, if Krishna is on our side, and how will he come on our side? When we call out for him, and that's what we do. Chanting is basically call for Krishna. Krishna, you come on my side. I'm struggling with a lot of things. I feel everything is impossible. I'm struggling with a lot of anarthas. I cannot give up these things in my heart. They are troubling me. They're bothering me. And I want to do a lot of service also, but that also seems to be impossible. So you help me out. You come on my side. You help me strengthen my faith. The famous verse, if there is hope, so this should help us to be more helpless, not hopeless. We should not be hopeless, be more helpless. I guess Ananta Mataji was telling the story. One time she was with Prabhupada in the class in Chicago. She was hearing a class, and then Prabhupada gave a lot of wonderful devotional qualities. Devotee should be like this. Sometimes we read Titikshva Karunika Surdam Sarvabhutanam Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhava Sadhabhushana, the 26 qualities of devotee. And then she in her heart was feeling, oh my God, this is so depressing. I have so many anarthas and I don't think it's possible for me. I'm feeling hopeless. Prabhupada then, she didn't say anything. She was just thinking in her heart. She just narrated the story one time. And Prabhupada said, but don't be hopeless. And she was like, wow, how did Prabhupada read my heart? Don't feel hopeless, because nothing is impossible when Krishna is there. So we should not feel hopeless. Whenever we'll feel depressed, dejected, rejected, we should take sincere shelter. Krishna, it's okay to cry in front of Krishna. It's okay to beg to Krishna. Krishna, help me out. Krishna, help me to take more sincere shelter. Help me overcome my anarthas. What's wrong? Rather than crying in front of the material world, we should cry in front of Krishna. So, is that okay?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu.
Add or comment, please feel free to share. Okay, one last verse, since this is the context is Durvâsâ Muni's glorifying devotees. Anyone? Prabir Prabhu, would you like to? I think it's signed off. Bankim Prabhu? Anyone who has not yet read? Gandhi Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, I'm outside doing something. So I'm just listening.
Sure, Prabhu, no problem. Gandhi Prabhu, you want to read or Parna Mataji?
अनुग्रहेतो हम वह करुणातमानः मध्यम पृष्ठतः कृत्वा प्राण जन्म भरिष्यति. Hare Krishna. Translation. O king, overlooking my offenses, you may have saved my life. Thus, I am very much obliged to you because you are so merciful. Hare Krishna, back to you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. So basically, Durvâsâ Muni is concluding here that I had a lot of shortcomings. I did a mistake. He realized his mistake. He is glorifying sincerely. He is realizing his mistake, right? Did I discuss the 6R form? I don't remember if I discussed in the kids class or here. Basically, Gauranga Darshan Prabhu shared this in one of his classes. So the first step I will quickly talk about it. The 6R formula, it may be helpful. I find it very, very helpful. 6R formula. So the first R is to reflect, right? Or to introspect. Because when we introspect, then only we will realize that, yes, I made a mistake. Rather than blaming other person, you are wrong, you did this, we should reflect, oh, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? What was my share of the problem? Rather than thinking what other person should have done. Then we should repent about it. When we realize our mistake, we should repent. I did such a bad thing towards someone. I hurt someone. We should repent. But repenting is not enough. We should rectify that, right? Try to fix the problem rather than just repenting about it. And then we should rectify and we should remember so that in future we repeat not, right? Otherwise, if we don't remember and it is said, Bhakti-Rasamrita Mahārāj or Radhanath Mahārāj, I heard that we should always remember our things which we do wrong towards others or we do mistake. We hurt someone, we should always remember that so that we don't repeat it. And if we do good towards someone, we should forget that right that instance. But what happens is opposite. And if others do good, we should always remember that. And if others do bad towards us, we should always forget that. Actually, Ambarish Mahārāj is showing that. Durvâsâ Muni practically killed Ambarish Mahārāj. Did Ambarish Mahārāj say even for a word, hey, you're trying to kill me, can you tell me the reason why you're trying to kill me? He didn't even remember that. He remembered only the good. Right? And he's so remembering, and what happens in the material world? Opposite happens. If others do good towards us, we forget that immediately. And if others do bad towards us, we remember after 10 decades also. Hey, in 10 years back, you said this to me. I remember that. So this is by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. He mentioned in his class, but it's really very powerful to understand the mistake and to correct it. So rectify or to correct it and then not repeat it. So basically now here he's very, very grateful and basically glorifying Ambarish Mahārāj for his kindness and for his greatness and the Vaishnava qualities he has. And where did we go? Okay, any closing comments, questions? Anyone has additions? Okay, so we will pause here. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Shri Ambarish Mahārāj ki jai, Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaura Bhaktavinda ki jai. Kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare